Okay, so what we're doing here on Mike's 64 F100 on a 2000 model F-150 4x4 chassis is I'm down to the nitty gritty. I'm making some of the details work. This is obviously not late 90s, early 2000s Ford 302. This is mid-late 80s 302 out of a Lincoln, and it originally had a serpentine belt set up on it, which is not going to work for me. Number one, because the look just doesn't work for me, and number two, the look just didn't work for me. So I got this belt set up, V-belt set up, out of a pickup in the salvage yard. I don't know what exactly the year was. I just knew when I saw it that this is going to work for me. This is the right look. It's going to fit my application, and it's going to do what I need it to do. But whenever you're doing anything custom, the details are what can catch you up more than anything else. This particular hose is from a 95 Ford F-150 with a 302. I chose this hose because it fits the pump. This has that Teflon O-ring seal right here that, in my opinion, is just, it's always been a hassle to me. They do work, don't get me wrong. But this other end, down here, use this later model O-ring style, let me get this thing focused, maybe, seal. This hose that I put on here has the inverted flare. Just so happens the nut screwed in. Well, why can't I make this work? You know, that O-ring seal obviously is not going to seal against an inverted flare. So what I did here was I put two copper crush washers in here. They're 12 millimeter by 8. I actually had to sand it outside down a little bit to get them to fit in there good. But now this seals up against the bottom instead of where the O-ring seal was on the outer edge. It's going to seal just fine. I know it is. Obviously, I can't start it to prove it to you at this moment, but I'm going to show you how confident I am. And I got to thinking, well, if it works there, why wouldn't it work up here? So I put 8 millimeter by 14 washers. I didn't have to resize them at all. They just fit right in the hole. And they're going to seal the same way. The bottom of this nut against the inside of this fitting. And I'm absolutely convinced it's going to work. It's tight like it's supposed to be. To prove my point, I'm going to cut the Teflon sealing ring off of this to prove it's not doing anything. Cut it in several places and get it off of here. This nut is bottomed out against the inside of that pressure fitting. Okay, I put 4 8 millimeter by 14 pressure washers in here. Bad boys, tight as you please without being laser tight. Hose is still flexible like it's supposed to be. I'm absolutely convinced that's going to work. For the same reason I'm convinced it's going to work over here. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to show you it today for proof of concept, but when I get an opportunity to start this motor here in the very near future, I still have some details to work out. I've got to pull the motor back out and put a shim behind the flywheel because I'm trying to use everything that we already own without just basically trying to save money everywhere I can, okay? And if it's cheaper to come up with a simpler method, I'm going to do that. If not, I'm going to use all the parts I've got. So I'm still using parts. This is an M5 ODR2. The BW4406, I believe, is the transfer case from the V6. Same bell housing pattern as the 302. Just got to drill the holes a little bigger for the bolts to fit. It bolts up just fine. Bought a flat 50-ounce out-of-balance flywheel. For the 302, use the clutch from the V6 because for some reason it's 12-inch versus a 10-inch on the 302. I don't know why. I'm gonna use the bigger clutch. I'm going to use the starter from the V6. The only problem is it barely touches right here. The flywheel does. So, and that's with the starter shim on it. So I'm going to remove the engine from the transmission. I'm going to put a different motor plate in here because I'm convinced that's not the right one. It looks more like an automatic one than a standard one. And I do have one that I know is from a standard that will fit. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to put a shim behind the flywheel, solve that issue. I'm going to use the original V6 starter we already have. This is simple to do because the cab isn't on it, because I've been doing some work on the cab. I'm going to accomplish this work before I put it all together, hopefully in the next week, and we can get it running. But I am absolutely convinced if we just use our heads a little bit, we can come up with a better plan to solve our little issues like this hose. I mean, I want to use parts that are readily available. If I have to buy a part, this is literally 95 Ford F-150 302 screwing into the 2000 model F-150 gearbox with crush sleeves, crush seals, there and there. I am betting my reputation on the fact that this is going to work. And if I'm wrong, you'll get to see it on video. So that's where we are today.